At Interstate Welding and Steel Supply, we strive for excellence in all of our products and services. From medical, food, and industrial gases, including propane, to steel, aluminum, and other metal materials, we have everything you need for your business or personal needs. Visit one of our 2 showrooms for welding equipment, truck and trailer supplies, power tools, and so much more. Our professional sales team will help you find exactly what you need. Call our Marble location at 888-613-8284 or our Blue Ridge store at 706-900-1000. Plus, you can always visit us online at interstatewelding.com.
At Graves Directional Drilling, we have handled a wide variety of commercial and residential projects for clients. Just like the Yellow Jacket basketball team, we know success comes with strong teamwork. With our attention to detail and dedication to delivering the highest quality work possible, you can rest easy knowing that your project is in the hands of an extremely talented and knowledgeable team of employees. So if you have a directional drilling or trenching project, give Stephen a call at 706-897-0374. And as always, go Jackets!
Looking for a way to become more active? Check out the Clay County Recreation Center. From walking and biking trails, to a workout room, to a state-of-the-art pickleball court, the rec center has something for all levels of physical activity. They even have an airfield for RC pilots. And don't forget about all the sports leagues for the kids. Visit the center at 333 Ballpark Drive in Hayesville or call 828-389-0368.
The views and opinions expressed on the Morning Buzz are not necessarily those of 389 Country Advertisers, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, or Google Podcasts.
But they should be.
This is the Morning Buzz.
Good morning, Buzzers. Yo, buddy Trav on the radio. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz here on a Monday. This is take 2. I'm not sure the first take took, so we took it again. Hope you guys had a great weekend, as some of you I know were still celebrating Thanksgiving and had the, family get-togethers and stuff. I had actually a really, really good weekend. My Saturday was almost perfect. Saturday morning I got up and had to organize the old storage shed out back, and that went well. It's amazing how much room you have in those when you actually organize things instead of just throwing stuff in there. And then my daughter and I went over to Young Harris College for a double dose of basketball. We'll talk about that in sports. And then after that, went to the neighbors for some Georgia football and an early birthday celebration with friends. Not my birthday, but my friends. So then yesterday, after church, just kind of laid around, and it was just one of those kind of days where we just decided to have a lazy day. Do you ever have a lazy day? Sometimes I think it's necessary. But anyway, I hope your weekend was great, and somehow I hope I help make your Monday even better. But in order to do this, we first have to officially start your day. And with that, we turn everything over to our old buddy Doug. Douglas, the floor is yours, sir. Today is Monday. It is November the 27th, and as I was looking at the old National Day calendar, everything just absolutely froze up. So, Monday all day long. Well, while I try to work on this, let me just tell you something. This weekend is the debut of Harper as she takes over Saturdays. She will be here Saturday morning, and then John and Heidi will be back in their normal slot on Saturdays 12 to 3. Harper will take over and carry you all the way into the night. So the shows are normal weekend shows. Some of them, they stopped a week early. So they said, we're done with you if you're done with us. But one show will remain. John Raybold, I have worked with him, and fortunately, Crossroads of Americana will still be on 389 Country in its normal time slot Sundays starting at 4 o'clock. And tonight we are doing his second hour from his show yesterday. It's encore, I guess you would say, as one of our very own listeners kind of took over the playlist for that show. So make sure to tune in to the daily version of that at 5 this evening. Now, today is National Craft Jerky Day. Y'all like jerky? Some people get a little too crazy with it, don't they? It's National Bavarian Cream Pie Day. It's Cyber Monday, or you're going to be burning it up. Listen, nobody's going to be doing anything at work today. You're all going to be on Amazon. I know how it works. Yeah, you didn't think old Trav knew what you were doing, did you? Listen, I'm connected to the government's database. Not really. If I was, I don't know what I would. That's a conflict of interest. I would have to dislike myself, right? Anyway, on this day in history, back in 1924, the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was held in New York City, and it became an American tradition, especially known for its huge balloons, which were introduced in 1927. Now, last week's version of the parade, I've seen nothing but criticism online, which that's all you see everywhere, but about anything. But they were talking about how the balloons were deflated and it was nothing but commercials. And I didn't find anybody that loved the 6-minute production of Corn, especially the line, it comes out the way it went in, and they were passing it along. If you missed that, look it up online because, yeah, it was something. And on this day in 1973, the U.S. Senate voted overwhelmingly in favor of Gerald R. Ford's succession to the vice presidency. So there you go. With that, it's time to take a look at weather, brought to you by North Georgia Sign and Apparel. Cool start to your day today. It's 35 right now in Hayesville, mid-30s all around. And y'all, it's not going to be much warmer. Sunny today, partly cloudy and chilly. High of only 46. Cold tonight, 21 for the low. More of the same tomorrow. Expect mostly sunny skies with a high of 45. Low tomorrow night of 17. And warming up on Wednesday as we take a peek at Wednesday. Looks like warmer and plenty of sunshine, high of 53. And there's a look at your North Georgia Sign and Apparel weather report. And with that, we have officially started your day. Welcome back, Buzzers. It's time to get our Monday rolling the way we do every week with our buddy Mark Chestnut. Mark Chestnut, it sure is Monday, boy. No truer words have ever been said. Time now for the 411 for the 389. 17 hostages held in the Gaza Strip were released yesterday. The third group freed during a tenuous 4-day ceasefire between Israel and Hamas that was held over the weekend and up to early this morning. In exchange, Israel released 39 Palestinian prisoners. Shifting gears now. The world's largest iceberg is drifting from the Antarctic Circle towards the Southern Ocean. Scientists confirmed late last week the floating mass sheared from the Filchner Rhone ice shelf in 1986, but became stuck on the floor of the Weddell Sea. This thing's been free since 86, and we're just now, you know why. You know why we're just now talking about this, right? Agenda pushed. And efforts to rescue 41 trapped Indian workers inside a collapsed tunnel in northern Uttarakhand state entered their third week today as rescuers mount 3 separate digging approaches to the enclosed laborers. All of the 41 men are reportedly in good health and receiving regular hot meals, water, and medicine via a small pipe. Y'all, they have been trapped in a collapsed tunnel for 3 weeks. Mr. Claustrophobic over here, my heart would have given up 2 weeks and 6 days ago. I would have panicked. But there's a look at the 401 for the 389. Hey, make sure that you download the app, 389 Country app, presented by Wix Spaces, and you can wake up to the morning headlines right there on your phone, and you receive notifications when new stories are posted. Keep up with the latest from the Yellow Jackets immediately following the game. That's just how it works. So, that's a mouthful. I didn't mention earlier, we got brand new music from Ashley Cooke coming up today, too. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, back to the music with Jelly Roll. This one's simply called She. Jelly Roll on a Monday morning. I hope your morning is going fine. How's your morning? Fine. Oh, but seriously, folks, as you're getting ready to head out to the office, to the job site, to the store, heck, maybe you are on your way to a school somewhere. At some point today, you're going to find yourself surrounded by those who make it abundantly clear to you that they need to be educated on the things of this world. And when that moment happens, dear friends, I want you to look them dead in the eye and say, losers, I bet I'm smarter than you, and I can prove it. And you do so by dropping this little number on them. Did you know that a baby octopus is about the size of a flea when it's born? It's true. It's true. When an octopus first lays its eggs, they're smaller than a grain of rice. The eggs are so delicate that they have to be constantly watched over. When the baby octopuses emerge from their eggs, They come out fully formed but tiny. They weigh only 0.001 ounces. You'd think this would make them hard to see, but since eggs are laid by the tens of thousands, they are easily spotted. And then after you have left them wowed, nay, slack-jawed with your superior knowledge, I want you to hit them with the old 1-2 punch. Look at them again. Say, not only am I smarter than you losers, I'm funnier too. Then drop this on them as the old computer locks up yet again. Happy Monday, y'all. Well, let's see what I can do here. Let's see if I can remember it. Let's see. What was it? Which one did I pick here? I don't know. Boy, Monday, y'all, Monday. It's just sitting here staring at me. It's doing that thing where it's not spinning, it's not doing anything, just sitting and staring at me. Well, let's see if I can think of one here. This was an oldie but a good one. 2 hunters were out dove hunting one day. A bird flew between the two and one shot, striking his friend. His friend went down, and the shooter immediately called 911. And 911 said, "What's your emergency?" He said, "I think I've killed my friend." To which the dispatch says, "Well, calm down, sir. First of all, let's make sure that he is dead." Then things go quiet, and all of a sudden, dispatch hears a gunshot. The man then returns to the phone and says, "All right, now what?" And just as I hit that, it pops up here. I'll give you 2. A man went to his lawyer and told him, "My neighbor owes me $500 and he doesn't want to pay up. What should I do?" "Do you have any proof?" asked the lawyer. "Nope," replied the man. "Okay, then write him a letter asking him for the $1,000 he owed you," said the lawyer. "But it's only $500, replied the man. "Precisely. That's what he will reply, and we will have proof, and we will nail him." I don't know it was worth the wait, to be honest. Welcome back, Buzzers. Time now for the Clay County Recreation Center Sports Report, and we begin with a little college basketball. In an outstanding second-half effort, the Mountain Lions of Young Harris College came out on top of the Toccoa Falls Screaming Eagles. Ha! That was a Screaming Eagle, by the way. The Mountain Lions win 82-69 on Saturday. Young Harris College's 82 points tops their average of 70 points per game. Carl Cleveland scored 17 points, shooting 7 for 11 from the field and recorded 5 assists. Hayesville's very own Kobe Ash had 16 points. I think he had a couple of rebounds, and I know he had at least 1 steal in the game. Cole Duptula had 15. Cameron Bleshhoy had 10. All had double-digit points as well. All had, those 3. So it was a fun game, good game to watch, exciting, and the girls' game was exciting too, and Young Harris College got the win there as well. Speaking of basketball, in the Hive tonight, varsity only. The Lady Yellow Jackets will get things rolling at 6 o'clock as Blue Ridge Early College comes to the Hive, and then, of course, the varsity men will follow. Come on out. What else you going to do on a Monday? A Monday evening? It's going to be cold. Come on out to the gym. It's always warm in there. And see people you know, get you some popcorn, cold Coca-Cola product, and cheer on the Jackets. And that is a look at sports for your Monday, brought to you by the Clay County Recreation Center. Alan Jackson with a little Christmas tunage this morning. Expect those more frequently the closer we get to Christmas. I'm one of those, you got to wait until Thanksgiving, but once Thanksgiving's over, jump in. So that's the way it's going to be. But for now, the way it's going to be is Bozo News Time. And this one comes from Staten Island, New York, where, buddy, you do that every day. Learn it. Anyway, it comes from Staten Island, New York, where the midnight release of a video game was a pretty big deal. And getting a copy before it sold out was priority 1 for 3 bozos who posed as police officers to cut into the front of the line of gamers waiting to purchase a copy. Look, they went all out. They had fake police badges and even drove up to the front of the mall here in a fake police car with lights and sirens operating. Now, that should be a warning right there. Why would the cops show up to this game release with lights flashing and sirens? Anyway, so things went well at first. They were successful when they left the mall speeding away, and they made an illegal U-turn. Unfortunately, they made that illegal turn right in front of an actual officer in an unmarked car. Oops. They've been charged with second-degree criminal impersonation, punishable by up to a year in jail. Y'all, all of this for a game that was probably like GTA or something, you know, probably how to outrun the cops. And imagine that scene. You drive by and you see a marked police car pulled over by an unmarked police car. And did they go all out with this? There's no way that they did this with the car and everything just so they could get this game. You know that they had probably been doing this for a while. Darius Rucker there with Comeback Song. So, y'all, these surveys and studies and stuff. So apparently 90% of all Americans believe they are eating healthy. 90% believe they are eating healthy. Wow. That's the survey, but the latest study says that 36% of us are obese. I would say that number's probably higher, and some of it's not fair. Some of it's the whole BMI index and all that, but 90% of us say that we are eating healthy, but then 36% of us are obese. Now, I'm not a math whiz, but something tells me that things aren't adding up there, right? I would say that 36% are those people that go to a fast food place and, like, order just, you know, the things that are loaded down with calories, and then they get them a Diet Coke because it's going to balance out. All right, do you eat healthy? Yes, I do. I just last week I went through the drive-thru at McDonald's. I ordered 40 McChicken nuggets or chicken McNuggets, whatever it's called, and I also had 3 large orders of fries. And I don't mean to brag, but I got a water to drink. I mean, I'm basically Richard Simmons. If you don't know who Richard Simmons is, I don't know that we can be friends. Miranda Lambert, white liar. Us Americans, 90% say we eat healthy and 36% are obese. Yeah, it's all good. We're fine. It's fine, really. How about we take a look at today in country music? Born on this day, let's see, where did it go? Born on this day was Sammy Creason back in 1944. He was an American session drummer who played with many artists, including Chris Christopherson, Bob Dylan, Willie Nelson, and who else here? Jimmy Buffett. So, and it just on and on and on. On this day in 1961, Decca Records released Patsy Cline's second studio album, Showcase, which was produced by Owen Bradley. 1969, Johnny Cash was number 1 on the U.S. country chart with At San Quentin. And let's see. We've all heard songs from that. 1982, special guest on this week's syndicated U.S. music television series, The Glenn Campbell Show, included Rita Coolidge, and I know you all love that. And today, in 1996, Sling Blade, set in rural Arkansas, written and directed by Billy Bob Thornton, opened in American movie theaters. And to celebrate this great movie, here's a little Dwight Yoakam, who the first time I watched that movie, I didn't realize that was Dwight Yoakam. Doyle is Dwight Yoakam. We ain't got no band, Randy. Had a buzzer say one of the best movies ever. I have to agree with that because it's like, you know, I just love it. And you just a boy, you ought not talk like that. Well, I hate him. I may have been accused of being the little boy in Sling Blade at one point back when that first came out. I was a little too old, but other than that, I might could have passed. But yeah, Dwight Yoakam, like, now listen, if you've never seen it, old Dwight's a little rough, but you forget it's Dwight Yoakam. Like I say, the first time I watched it, I didn't even realize it was Dwight Yoakam. And his character, you are not going to like him at all. But if you've never seen Sling Blade, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Well, that's going to do it for hour number 1 for the old Travanator, but don't you go anywhere. We've still got 2 full hours to go. Coming up in hour number 2, we will take a look at political chaos from around the world, including, well, polls are out. Who do you think the odds makers are betting for? I'll tell you about that. Also, Uncle Joe is out apologizing. I'll catch you up on that. And I've got an example of what happens when you cross the empire. I'll go ahead and tell you, it ain't good. All that and much, much more, including missing money and spying on you. Go ahead, text a friend, tell him to tune in because the meat and potatoes is about to hit after the top of the hour. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Text a friend, tell them tune in. Thanks for listening to 389 Country. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav here on a Monday morning. Hopefully hour 2 goes better than hour 1 went. Let's check on something here real quick. I like to do everything on the air, so you know what's going on. Yep, everything looking good on that end. Don't forget, if you missed the show or if you can't catch it all, you can always go back and get it on demand. The short version, it is the compressed version without the music, so you just get the stories and things like that. That's on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, or Spreaker, and it's usually about an hour. So it cuts the show into a third if you're in a hurry and can't listen to the full thing. Let's see, what else? I've told you about the app last hour. I'll tell you again, go ahead and go grab it because it really, really will help you. Coming up in this hour, political chaos, including a story that is a perfect example of what happens to you when you fall out of favor with the empire. I'll tell you about that in just a couple of minutes. First, though, as we do every day in hour 2, we begin with a little worship music because you know we need Jesus before we talk politics. Today's 389 Country Worship Spotlight comes to us from Gateway Worship featuring Claire Smith. This is called Who Else? Here's what happens when you cross the empire. Do you remember New York City Mayor Eric Adams and how, he rose to fame and became the mayor of the United States' largest city? Well, all was well. Let's go ahead and kill this. This seems loud. All was loud until, all was loud. All was fine until, Greg Abbott started busing illegal immigrants to New York City, and New York City quickly found out, hey, we don't have any way of dealing with this. So what did Mayor Eric Adams do? Well, he went to the border. Now, you remember how he was talking very loudly on the international stage about the failure of President Biden's immigration policy, which seems to be let everyone in all at once. He even planned to go to the White House to discuss that said policy, but now he's been hit with multiple scandalous accusations. This from the New York Times. On the same day, FBI agents raided the home of Mayor Eric Adams' chief fundraiser. They also searched the residence of 2 people with ties to the mayor and Turkey. Several people with knowledge of the matter said. From the New York Post, Eric Adams accused of sexually assaulting a woman in 1993. Now, 1993, let me do my math here. Was that before or after the mayor was elected and celebrated by the left? It was before. So he had done all that allegedly in 1993, but nothing was mentioned until he speaks out against the empire. Now, the rape allegation news dropped on Thanksgiving morning, while everybody was watching the parade, right? The accuser, whom the Post is not identifying because of the nature of the allegation, named Adams as a defendant along with the NYPD's Transit Bureau and Guardian Association in a lawsuit filed late Wednesday. Now, why now? If this happened in 1993, 20 years ago, right? Wait, no, 30 years ago. Golly, time's flying. 30 years ago. This lady didn't mention anything. The mayor, this guy becomes mayor and gets out of line. Look what happens. Now, I'm not going to go full Alex Jones on you here. And if you know, you know. Perhaps he was taking bribes from the government of Turkey, and maybe there's truth to this sexual assault allegation. But he's innocent until proven guilty. And I have no evidence to make a judgment, on anything. But I do believe in his constitutional right. But doesn't it seem odd, the timing of all this? I mean, he was a generic left-wing guy from when we started talking about him last year. And then when he started to make a stink about immigrants, especially over the summer, when he went to the border and everything, things fell apart. So we'll see. Now, there's been other deep blue mega cities that are complaining about this problem too. So if you start to see these Democratic mayors one by one fall, you know what's up, right? I think it's pretty obvious anyway what's going on. But what do I know? What do you think? Let me know what you think. Am I overlooking or looking too deep into this? Not overlooking it, but just a happy coincidence, I guess. We'll see. The year is 2019. It is late November, early December, and everyone starts hearing tales about a mysterious flu-like disease that's in China. Now, most, self included, dismiss it as not going to be a big issue. However, it ends up taking over, and in 2020, things are shut down, people are wearing masks, and it's an election year, so people are forced to vote from home and drop their ballots off. And some would go on to believe that had played a big part in Joe Biden's election as president of these here United States. Fast forward, the year is 2023. It's late November, early December, and we have these news stories. New outbreak in China. Mystery pneumonia tears through schools in China with many hospitalized. The illness is causing unusual symptoms such as inflammation in the lungs and a high fever. No call for other flu-like symptoms are present, yet schools are overwhelmed with sick children. I don't know. Look, if you keep people away from natural viruses, their defenses will decrease. We went through all this, leading to random, very normal outbreaks like this, which China has seen quite occasionally. But one thing in this article sort of jumps off the page. Listen to this. The alert was issued late on Tuesday via ProMed, a largely publicly available global surveillance system that monitors infectious diseases. It was a ProMed notification back in December 2019 that brought a mystery virus, later given the name COVID, to the attention of many doctors and scientists, including officials at the World Health Organization. Yep, same people that warned us about COVID in 2019. They hadn't done anything for a while, but next year's an election year. They decided to do something. Here's from ProMed's report. With the outbreak of pneumonia in China, children's hospitals in Beijing and other places are overwhelmed with sick children, and schools and classes were on the verge of suspension. Parents questioned whether the authorities were covering up the epidemic. In the early morning, Beijing Children's Hospital was still overcrowded with parents and children whose children had pneumonia and came to seek treatment. Since China stopped adhering to the zero policy at the beginning of the year, epidemics such as influenza, mycoplasma, and bronchopneumonia have broken out from time to time. But what really gets you is this from the Wall Street Journal. China provided the World Health Organization with data on a pneumonia outbreak among children in the country after the agency made an unusual public request for the information. From the story, the WHO said it issued an official information request to China the day after reports about the undiagnosed pneumonia clusters emerged on Tuesday from the media and a global infectious disease reporting system known as ProMed. The agency said it wasn't clear whether these reports were associated with the overall increase in respiratory infections previously reported by Chinese authorities or separate events. Now, we talked last week about the infections and upper respiratory infections that seem to be plaguing the United States. If they can connect the two, everybody get your mask ready. Will they run the same trick play twice? Crazier things have happened. Now, this is not crazy. New music was in the old inbox this morning from Ashley Cooke. This is her latest. It's called Your Place. Let me know what you think about it. 389country@gmail.com. Welcome back, buzzers. Your buddy Trav here. We are smack dab in the middle of political chaos. And, all the betting odds makers have one person as the clear favorite in the 2024 presidential election. Any guesses? If you guess Trump, you are correct. And, all of them. The bookmakers have one man in mind as their best bet to win next year. It's Donald Trump again. According to Real Clear Politics, current standings looking at 8 of the biggest political betting markets like Predictit and Boveda. And the big orange man is the odds-on favorite, looks like every single time. Looking here, let's see. The highest I see is 37% chance of winning. The lowest I see is 35%. Now, let's look at Joe. His highest chance of winning, 32%. And lowest I see, 22% chance. Let's see. Now, to be fair, they've got Obama on here. I'm guessing that's Michelle because Barack can't. Michelle has 5. Let's see. But anyway, yeah, Trump seems to be the odds-on favorite. Trump and Biden are clearly the top two choices. Coming in third in the polls, let's see, looks like Newsom, who I say will be the Democratic nomination. Now, look, or nominee. They've already passed the deadline, but they can change the rules, and especially if Joe steps down. Now, these odd makers are only about making money, so it's hard to say that these are fake polls, right? When we talk about other polls, you kind of have to look at the source and which side that source leans to know if it's true or not. But Vegas, they're not in the money of truth. Their truth is making money. So 2 years ago, who would have imagined that Trump would have been favored? You know who's the number one campaigner for Donald Trump? It's Joe Biden. If Joe keeps being Joe, Trump doesn't have to do anything. By the way, I heard last week, don't expect Joe to meet Trump in a debate next year either. They're not going to let the old man debate if he is indeed the nominee. So there you go, you Trumpsters. So far, so good. Garth Brooks, the thunder rolls. Well, let's check in with Uncle Joe. President Biden apologized to some prominent Muslim American leaders for publicly questioning the Palestinian death toll being reported by the Hamas-controlled Gaza Ministry of Health. Apparently, Biden huddled with 5 Muslim American leaders the day after his October 25th comments about reported Gaza deaths in the Islamic community, vowing to, quote, do better. Let's see here. During the meeting, which was initially planned for 30 minutes but lasted more than twice as long, Biden heard the leaders describe individuals they knew who were personally affected by the conflict. I'm sorry. I'm disappointed with myself, Biden told the group. A day before, during a press conference, the president openly questioned the accuracy of the casualty figures from Gaza given Hamas's terror track record. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that he was right to apologize. I'm not saying he was wrong to apologize. To me, if you just watch the trends, this guy, whoever he's with, that's the way he is. How many times have we heard him, oh, I was raised Catholic. Oh, I was raised in the black church. Oh, I was raised in the synagogue. Oh, I was raised in a Puerto Rican community. Oh, I was embarrassed that my name didn't end with a SKI because I was raised with Polish. I was raised with, I mean, it's constant. Like, whoever he's with, that's who he's going to roll with. Such a politician. No conviction, no true feelings, no true thought. It's just, yeah, whichever way the wind blows, that's the way I'm going to lean. You know, trees have built-in bend to them, right, to stand up to the wind, right? But even, here's the thing, you have hardwoods and you have softwoods. An oak tree will break, but it is strong, right? It takes a lot to break it. An old pine tree, it'll bend and blow whichever way, but really, think about it. It's soft, right? Same thing with politician. A politician who bends and leans with whichever way the wind's blowing, they're soft. Leanne Womack, I may hate myself in the morning. Some of you having a little regret on things right now. What's he talking about, Martha? I don't know. Well, I would say this is your taxpayer money at work, but in order to say that, we'd have to know where the money went. Y'all check this out. For a 6th time in a row, you heard that right, 6 times, the Pentagon has failed its audit. No one seems to know what we're spending our billions and billions on. Don't know what we're spending on, where it goes. Half of the Department of Defense assets cannot be accounted for. This is 6 in a row. Fire everybody. Besides so much of our money just being wasted on stupid things, you know, like woke initiatives and things Rand Paul points out at Festivus, the Department of Defense has lost half of the money they were given. Now, I'm not saying they didn't spend it. They just can't tell us where they spent it. And you know what makes it worse? We only started auditing the Pentagon on a yearly basis in 2018. This means the Pentagon has never passed an audit. And they'll run, we need more funding for our military. They prey on your American pride, your patriotism. Yes, let's support the military. Let's support the military. Let's give them more money. Do you think that this missing money went to the actual soldiers? Nope. Because then they would be able to say, well, here's where it went. Nah, they can't tell us where it went. And according to the Comptroller and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, this year, with half the budget missing, is an improvement. 50% they can't account for, and that's an improvement. From the story, out of 29 individual sub-audits of the department, only 7 passed this year, the same as the prior year. Comptroller Mike McCord told reporters Wednesday all sub-audits are required to pass for the overall audit to be approved. McCord said that while things are showing progress overall, it's not enough. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin feels we need to be doing better at this and moving faster, but a successful audit is still years away. Y'all, we're showing big improvement here. We only lost half the budget completely, which is half of all U.S. discretionary spending. So we lost 50% of 50%. So think about that. That's like 1 out of every 4 tax dollars spent completely disappears because it's given to the Department of Defense. A quarter of the taxes collected from you is missing. Nobody knows where it went. Listen, I'm all for supporting the military, giving them everything they need. However, just like every other form of government, it's gotten too big. There's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, right? You can't say that. Well, I did. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Not enough servers. All this money that's going to them, and they can't tell you where it went. Meanwhile, this same Department of Defense on its website has tips and instructions for how military families can get on welfare to help supplement their food costs. Remember that. If that doesn't chap your rump, then there's nothing I can do for you. Should we support the military? Yes. Should we give them funding? Yes. But if I'm in charge, if I'm in Congress, when this comes back, not one more dime. You don't get one more dime until you can tell us where everything is. Not one. And I know that I would be a loner and I would be called unpatriotic and sympathizer with Russia or whatever. But at some point, that's what we've got to do. We have got to the checkbook has to close and the pen put away, y'all. We can't just keep doing this. We can't. Little big town pontoon there. Well, since, the government's wasting money, this will help. Why didn't we know that there's a U.S. government surveillance program that tracks more than 1 trillion domestic phone records annually and analyzes those records even if you aren't suspected of a crime? Now, we all act sort of jaded about this kind of thing, but admit it, when you find out it's really happening, it's a little more than a little shocking, right? From the story, a little-known surveillance program tracks more than 1 trillion. I've already read that. Here's from the story. That's the same thing. So this surveillance program was known as Data and Analytical Services, and it has, for over a decade, allowed the government to analyze phone data of millions of people, regardless of criminal status, including victims, without any additional warrant or anything like that. So how have we not known about this? Huh? The program doesn't just target those who've been in contact with criminals under investigation, but anyone those people may have been in contact with as well. So it basically treats you as a suspect, even if you are merely adjacent to someone, who actually committed a crime. And think about the COVID, how it spread, right? And remember, we had contact tracing. Basically, it's like that. If you've had any doings with anybody who also had doings with criminals, then you're probably on this. It's run with the help of AT&T. Let me make a note of that. AT&T on that list. And records show that the White House has given $6 million in funding to this program, which it uses AT&T towers to track people who use their towers. $6 million to track you. I don't have anything to hide. They can just look at whatever. I'm not a bad person. It's not about that. It's about invasion of privacy and not going through due process to track you. Oh, the empire. Morgan Wallen there. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back in 3 minutes. Text a friend. Tell him tune in. Welcome back, buzzers, to hour number 3. Your buddy Trav sitting here behind the microphone on a Monday morning looking out the old studio window. Looks like blue skies, few white puffy clouds. Going to be a cool one today. We're not going to make it to 50 today. So just be aware of that. Keep that fire going. Keep them toesies warm. Coming up in hour 3, we got chaotic news from around the world, including the crazy news story of the day. Also, the BK Concrete Connection Racing Report. And coming up in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to give you a tip on just how to treat yourself. Sometimes you just have to do something for you. And if you've got a few million laying around, I've got the thing for you. But first, Since we are in the 9 o'clock hour, we kick things off with 90s at 9, and it's Diamond Rio today. Meet in the middle. Diamond Rio, our 90s at 9, meet in the middle. Golly, Diamond Rio, things get better as time goes by, don't they? That was recorded in the 90s, you idiot. I'm talking about just my appreciation for them. Well, you can treat yourself to a sweet $14 million splurge and live in Mozart's final home. Yep, that's right. Now, face it, you know Mozart, he knew quality when he saw it. You can tell it on his face when you look at the paintings of him. Plus, it's Mozart, right? His name, by some metrics, defines quality, right? When I say Mozart, you straightened up, right? And you fixed that ruffled T-shirt, straightened it out a little bit. So you can bet that this sweet pad offers the finest in high living. So here's from the story. This sprawling estate is a symphony of space, and it's about to go up for sale at the foot of the Austrian ski town of Semmering, a historic castle that served as his final home, as the final home of great composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, will soon hit the auction block. So get yourself over to that auction block and start bidding on this bad boy. So, well, there's a dungeon. Let's get that out of the way. There is a dungeon. So why not? Who doesn't need a dungeon, you know? You also need a stone room. There's a room made of stones. Think of stone, all the stone-related things you can do. The chairs sitting here, it looks like it's set up for like a Bible study or something. I don't know. And then you can watch movies on Mozart's original 18th century movie screen. Now, obviously, that's been added, but there is a movie theater with theater seats. What else do we have here? You get a chapel. You don't have to go to church. Church can come to you. And I'm not sure what this space is. It looks like a dining table in the attic with pews on each side. But anyway, $4 million. It can be yours, dear friends. And if you happen to have the winning, or $14 million, excuse me. If you happen to have the winning bid, just remember your buddy Trav. I'd like to go over and watch a movie in Mozart's house. And you know what? If Mozart's still hanging around as a ghost, you know what he's going to be listening to? There's a stranger in my house. Here's Ronnie Millsap. Well, imagine that you save up for the cruise of a lifetime, right? Passengers who had planned their trip of a lifetime and paid more than $100,000 to embark on the trip have found out that the trip, well, it isn't happening. Why? Well, no ship, no cruise. Life at Sea Cruises was going to start on its 3-year trip, but the company doesn't have a ship for its passengers to set sail on. This is from CNN. The company had been planning to buy the Ada Aurora, a ship that had been retired earlier this year by Ada Cruises, a subsidiary of Carnival Corps. But another company, Celestial Cruises, bought the ship. So they started booking this cruise before they even had a boat. Originally, the cruise was supposed to embark from Istanbul, Turkey on November 1st, but just before the trip was scheduled to begin, it was postponed until November 11th and moved to Amsterdam. Then the date was pushed back to November 30th with the start of the voyage remaining as Amsterdam, but at a time when people should have been packing and putting last-minute touches on their plans, passengers were told on November 17th that their trip was canceled. The news came too late for some of the passengers who had paid for the 111 cabins. Some had already traveled to Istanbul before the original departure date. Others sold or rented their homes to get rid of their possessions. Remember, this was going to be a 3-year cruise. So you signed to rent out your house, to sign a lease for 3 years. Now you have nowhere to live. Oh, my goodness. The trip costs about $115,500 per person, sailing to 382 ports in 240 countries. After the first 3 years, the ship would then embark on another 3-year cruise with passengers who wanted to stay on could pay extra to remain. Now, they're also out of money, out the money they had paid for the time being until they can get their refunds, which will be repaid in monthly installments from mid-December through late February. Now, isn't it amazing? The company could take your payment in full, but they can't give it back to you in full. You have to get it in payments. Oh, y'all smell that? That's a hot lawsuit coming in. Could you imagine? Just the disappointment, the aggravation. Yeah, somebody's going to pay. And I have no sympathy for this cruise company because they did this without even having a ship. Same thing with airlines. They oversell tickets, right? Some of you may not know that. They sell more tickets than they have seats because they're counting on some people not showing up. And then when everybody shows up, that's when the problem starts, and they start offering people money to get on the next flight and everything, which is stupid because there's a reason those people have selected that time to take off, right? This is the kind of stuff that the government needs to have their nose in, not who I'm texting on my phone. Time now for the crazy news story of the day. Y'all, imagine you're driving around and you get behind the car and there's hair sticking out of the trunk. What would you do? You know, in today's day and age when we're all worried about human trafficking, you probably call the cops, right? Well, that's expected. Sophie Milne of Christchurch, New Zealand, was recently contacted by the police after they had received multiple calls about hair hanging out of the trunk of her car. I find it interesting they called instead of going. But anyway, after a few moments of confusion, she realized it was Cher, her hairdresser's mannequin that had been riding around in her trunk for about a week. The woman who owned the mannequin was embarrassed to receive the call from the police, saying that she had driven all over the city in the week since she had last opened her trunk. Milne wanted to clear the air for all the people lying awake at night wondering if someone has a body in their boot. That's what they call the trunk there. There are probably people all around Christchurch that have seen it. The mannequin's hair apparently looked realistic enough to fool more than one New Zealander as they zipped by on the highway. One woman who'd called was relieved to see the victim was inanimate, saying, "We debated for a full 10 minutes whether we should do anything about it. Then I concluded that I would never live with myself if a kid had jumped in your boot or trunk or something for a laugh." We called the 10-5 hotline, 10-4, and the operator said they would put a call out to the local police to keep an eye out for your car. I'm so sorry to cause you embarrassment, but dang, I'm relieved. The police said they were glad the call turned out to be nothing and encouraged the public not to hesitate to report suspicious activity. Yeah, you got half a head hanging out. But again, why didn't the cops, go to her? I mean, anybody could say, oh, it's a mannequin, right? I would feel better if they had actually gone to her car and been like, okay, we've checked this. It's just a mannequin. But there you go. There's today's crazy news story of the day. Always check your trunk. You never know what you've got shut up in there. Old Dominion there with Mega Maroney. Can't break up now. How about a little chaos? Look, loneliness is brutal, right? It's bad stuff, and recent studies have shown that people are more lonely now than they've ever been, even though it's easier to be connected. So it goes beyond mere boredom or sadness or, any of those surface-level emotions. Loneliness hits deep, and it doesn't go away. It's hard stuff. This, to me, I'm sorry, this just kind of feels worse. This from the Nordic News. You live in your own bubble. Swedish city takes on loneliness with a simple hi. Here's from the story. While many have their own hobbies that keep them going through the cold, dark winter months in Sweden, ice swimming, cross-country skiing, working on the ice road out to the archipelago. There you go, Trav. One thing remains a problem, loneliness. In an attempt to counter that, authorities have launched a campaign to ease that social isolation ever so slightly by encouraging people to say hello to one another. Yep, that's it. This is really a legitimate campaign with a name and a whole public effort and everything. The Sig Hage, or Say Hello campaign, says it aims to create a friendlier city by nudging people towards small but significant social interaction. Adverts are running on buses and workshops are being held in schools. In one sense, this is kind of a nice idea. I mean, it is nice to say hi to people. Most of the time, people are just walking along without engaging or interacting with anyone around them. Now everybody has on headphones or earbuds, and they won't even make eye contact with you, right? I do like that in this area, for the most part, you still, if you hold the door open for somebody, they say thank you. Or if you meet somebody in the aisle of the grocery store, hello, how are you? Good. Or if you're walking, up at the dam, people are usually smile or something. But it's a bummer, if no one's around you. I just can't believe that we're to the point where we have to create this campaign to try to get people to say hello. I guess common decency is now a superpower along with common sense. Kenny Chesney, the Tin Man. That's the new version. I don't know what's new about it other than it was released later than the original. Maybe that's it. Well, Christmas shopping season is upon us, which means crowded malls and tons of annoying kiosk merchants out hawking their trick helicopters and creepy ball weasels and perfumes and all that stuff. Would you like to have a smell? No, I can smell you when I walked in the door. No thanks. Now there's a whole new mall kiosk dropping. It's called the Care Pod. Yep. The Care Pod is the brainchild of Adrian Own. I don't know. A-O-U-N. Own. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Sounds like a giraffe trying to throw up. Own. According to him, it's the future of medicine. Imagine you're going to the mall, locking yourself in this little box and having a robot give you a little checkup. Aoun says, slowly but surely, we're just migrating every single thing from doctor and nurse to hardware and software. In fact, we don't even believe a doctor's office should exist. Okay. Now, given all the fun stories we featured, here of AI trying to kill people and sometimes succeeding, I can only imagine all the ways this idea could go wrong. You go in to have them look at an abscessed tooth. Next thing you know, you're walking funny when you come out. Well, that's going to do it for the old Travinator. Just like that, Monday morning has come and gone. Got off to a rocky start, but I think we saved it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz here on 389 Country. Make sure to keep a check on 389country.com throughout the day for news you can use. Always new, always free, and keep us on. So we are the perfect soundtrack to your day. Josh David coming up at 10, looking like the show going to get started with Sugarland. I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll do it all again. It'll be a 2 for Tuesday, so you can expect double shots from your favorite country music artist. Until then, remember, wrestling is real. Politicians are fake. If you're looking for something to do tonight, come on out to the Hive. Support the Yellow Jackets. Varsity only. Tip off for the Lady Jackets at 6 o'clock. Hope you guys have a great Monday. I'll talk to you tomorrow.